Hi guys, welcome to the Set Prep Slayer. I'm your host, Cameron Scott Kirk, and together we will slay the SAT. Today we're talking about something that is perhaps among the strangest of aspects of English language, and that is the use of a past participle not as a verb, but as an adjective. Past participles are something you need to know, need to recognize when you're doing the SAT test. So without further ado, let's get into the weird and wonderful world of past participles. Past participles, what are they? Now, we have a list below here called the most common irregular verbs list. You'll see three columns. The first column is referred to as the base form. The second column is past simple, and it's the third column we're focused on, the past participle. Now, when I'm teaching, I sometimes refer to these three concepts as V1, meaning verb 1, V2, verb 2, and of course, V, you guessed it, 3. It's the V3 that is called officially the past participle. Interestingly, in English, a past participle is not always a verb. Now, notice the broken past participle here. So the V1 is break, the V2 is broke, the V3 is broken, or in other words, base form break, past simple broke, past participle broken. We're going to go down here. We're using the word broken. Now, the first sentence reads, the window was broken. Notice the be verb was. It is followed by the past participle, broken. In this case, it's functioning as a verb. The second example, John has broken his finger. Ooh, poor John. Notice the have or has plus the past participle. This is also functioning as a verb. Now, the last sentence. The broken window was fixed. In this case, the past participle is all by its lonesome. There's no be verb, there's no have, has, no auxiliary verb of any kind. What does that mean? Well, clearly looking at the sentence, it's functioning as an adjective. So if a past participle is not accompanied by an auxiliary verb, a be verb, or a have, has, chances are it's functioning as an adjective. Let's go down to another example down here. I burnt, past simple, the toast. That's a verb, but it's not a past participle. It's actually a past simple. I burnt the toast. The toast was burnt by me. Well, there we go. There's the auxiliary verb be and burn. Clearly, that is a verb. Second sentence, John has burnt the toast. Well, there's our auxiliary verb has burnt. Therefore, this is a past participle as a verb. The last example, the burnt toast was thrown away. Now, there's no auxiliary verb at all, and it precedes the noun toast. It's functioning as an adjective. The verb here is actually was thrown. So you should, by now, I hope, be able to recognize when a past participle is functioning as a verb and when it's not. There's one more example down here. Regular verbs can get tricky. A regular verb is just when you add ed onto a base form, such as play, played, played. The V2 and the V3 are identical. So how do you tell if it's a V2 or a V3 or an adjective? We've got a couple of simple examples up on the board. A, the abandoned boy cried. B, the boy was abandoned. If you'd like to pause the video just for a second to think about this, the question is, In which sentence is the past participle functioning as an adjective, and in which sentence is it functioning as a verb? You can pause the video and think about that. Otherwise, I'm going straight through. Now, you should be able to tell pretty clearly that this abandoned is a past participle functioning as an adjective. It's describing the boy. Verb here is actually cried. B, the boy was abandoned. There we go. There's our be verb, was. That's an auxiliary verb. Therefore, was abandoned. Abandoned is a verb in this case. Alrighty. Now, going back to that list at the top of the page here, a lot of past participles in the irregular verbs list. So ridden is a past participle. It could be a verb, could be an adjective. Chosen is a past participle. It could function as a verb. It could function as an adjective. Bitten up here is a past participle. It could be a verb, could be an adjective. Let's do some real-life practice from the SAT. Now, the sentence we're focused on here is the one beginning, such quotidian objects. And that, by the way, is the subject of the sentence. One line for subject. Now, notice depicted here. And notice celebrated. At a quick glance, are either of these words verbs? The answer is no. The verb for such quotidian objects actually comes down here, D, reveal. So what's happening with depicted and celebrated? Well, you will see that they are void of any auxiliary verbs, and they are functioning as adjectives. So the question itself doesn't really require your complete knowledge of past participles, but I'm just pointing out depicted and celebrated here as examples of third verb forms that transform into adjectives. Let's go down to another example. Now, the sentence we're focused on here is the second one beginning known as the brass era. By the way, have a look at that. That, of course, know, knew, known, that's a past participle. Is it an adjective or a verb in this case? Well, because it's in a phrase, there's no subject and verb here. That's an adjective. Now, we're going down to the gap. I want you to note the comma. Now, you should have some knowledge of comma splices, I'm hoping. I have a video up on that. Check that out if you're not sure what a comma splice is. But that comma is telling us that the following information cannot be in a clause form, which is a subject and a verb. So we're trying to avoid verbs in the gap. A, are highly prized. So prized in this context is a verb because it's accompanied by the be verb are. This is a verb. You can't use it. B, for the same reasons. There's the verb form, third verb form of being highly prized. So prized is also a verb in this context. You can't use it. C, highly prized. There's no be verb and there's no have has, no auxiliary verb at all. This could function as an adjective. D, there's your auxiliary verb. It's functioning. Prized here is functioning as a verb. It's out. Only C fits into the gap because C, highly prized, is not a verb. It's an adjective that gives us a phrase structure which can complete the sentence. So, just to reiterate that point, C, prized, that word is an adjective. A-D-J. It's not a verb in this context. Let's go down to another example. We're looking at the same issue. Here's a comma which is coming at the end of a clause. The subject of the clause is Zhang Daqian's 1983 painting Panorama of Mount Lu. Here's the verb, is inspired. So I know that inspired is a verb because it's is inspired. Then we come to that comma. So again, what's following here must be in a phrase form. We're not allowed to use a clause because you can't join two clauses together with a comma. That's a comma splice. So we need to eliminate any verbs in the potential answers down here. Have a look. Which of these jumps out at you as a past participle functioning as an adjective? It's not A, because there's your auxiliary verb. It's not B, auxiliary verb. And it's not D. Only C can answer this question correctly. It's an adjective form, a type of Chinese landscape painting characterized by. That's not functioning as a verb, it's functioning as an adjective. Here is another example, and it's the final one today. I'd like you to look at the word credited, and I want you to tell me, is that a past participle functioning as a verb, or is it a past participle functioning as an adjective? The other possibility, it's just a past simple verb. Have a look. Pause the video if you wish to think about this. Otherwise, I'm going right through. All right. Well, let's talk about this one. The subject of the clause here is more than half. Can credited be a verb for that? No, because books do not credit themselves. If you go down here, you'll see the verb are. So the main clause reads, more than half are, in fact, written by ghostwriters. Actually, the verb, it's a passive, are written down through here. So how is credited working in this sentence? Let's read it. Literary agents estimate that more than half of all non-fiction books credited to a celebrity or other public figure are in fact written by ghostwriters. You should be able to now identify that that is not functioning as a verb. Again, it's an adjective. ADJ. All right, so that's a lesson on the way that a past participle can function in English. Remember, they could be verbs, they could be adjectives. So any one of these words up in the third column here could in fact function as an adjective in the right context. It's the same with any verb that has ed on it in terms of regular verbs. Any past participle verb containing an ed may be a verb, may be an adjective. It really depends on how it's being used. It's really important for you to be able to recognize when a past participle is functioning as either a verb or as an adjective. Hopefully you have those skills now, which will enable you to get a higher score on the SAT writing section. That is my dream, my hope, and my wish for you. Thank you for tuning in. Tune in next time for more bizarre grammar. See you then. Bye for now.